Introducing the Pellet Pro Patriot PID Wi-Fi controller.
Smoke Master D here with the first in a series on using Smoke Daddy's products to upgrade your pellet grill. Now I want to give a disclaimer that while I bought my controller from Smoke Daddy with my own money, they have sent me some of these products free of charge to do this series with. Now, I've ordered this series in the order of products that are going to make the most difference in your pellet grill to the least. And that's why the number one product on this series is the Patriot PID Wi-Fi controller. So in a separate video, which I'm going to link on the screen as well as in the description, I talk more in depth about the reasons for upgrading to a PID controller. One of the main reasons, though, is that it's going to give you more consistent temperatures in your cooking chamber, which is going to give you a more even cook on your meat and actually shorten cooking times. So, how does it do this? Well, most PID controllers are only going to change the feed rate of the auger, but Smoke Daddy's controllers, including the Patriot PID Wi-Fi controller, change the auger rate, the feed rate, as well as the fan. Now the fan, of course, supplies the oxygen to the fire pot. So why is it important to change both the auger and the fan rate? Well, the short answer is that it's going to more easily, faithfully, and efficiently maintain your set temperature. Now, the Patriot PID Wi-Fi controller has two different options when employing the fan. One is the one that we all know, full on, which is continuous blowing into the fire pot. But they've also created a second option, and that option is a pulsing of the fan. Now this keeps air going to the fire pot to burn, but it sort of slows the air down a little bit so that when the set temperature is being approached, it's going to slow that down to get right to the set temperature that you want. Also, when maintaining a set temperature, it's going to help control that. Now the importance of this pulsing is that by keeping that fire burning instead of just letting it go out, it's going to avoid creating that dirty smoke that we don't want on our meat. It's also going to avoid the production of the kind of ash that once the fan would come back on could be blown all over your meat as soot, and you really don't want soot on your meat. So that pulsing is very important. Now the controller will also send pulsing signals to the auger. So the auger will have three different settings, either completely off, pulsing, or continual feed. And that's going to give even more control over the temperature as well. Now, if you notice that the temperature is off by a certain number of degrees continuously, there's also a manual input of data for the controller to use. And this is called the offset. So in 5-degree increments, you can change the offset to -5, -10, -15, or -20 degrees, as well as 20 degrees in the opposite direction for +5, +10, +15, or +20. Now, over the next 10 to 15 minutes, the controller is going to use that input to adjust itself and get the temperature right where you want it. The controller also comes with two temperature probes that connect into the front of the controller. The probes are a little on the thicker side, so you may need to widen your port in order to get both in at the same time. I have this grommet here that I installed in order to do that for mine. You can check both of these temperature probes either by pressing a button on the front of the controller itself, or if you have the Wi-Fi, you can check it through the app as well. One of the most desired features in this PID controller is the Wi-Fi connection. Now, you can only connect to a 2.5 gigahertz band, and sometimes people have had trouble connecting to their home network. Now, the most common fix is to change your password, usually to an 8-character password. So those two things, the changing password and changing it to 8 characters, seem to be the ones that most often bring the results that people want. Now, SmokeDaddy has some really great customer service people there to help you with this situation should it arise. The app is easily downloadable either by going to Apple's App Store or the Google Play Store and searching for Pellet Pro Patriot. You can also go to SmokeDaddy's website, and if you go to Resources, you'll find some links under the tab. The app is fairly basic, but it works well enough for its intended purposes. You can change the set point from the app on your grill. You can also check the temperature of the grill and the temperature on your internal probes, and set alarms for those probes so you know when your meat has reached the point that you want it to. Now, one thing you should note is that when you're using those alarms, the sound for the alarm comes from your phone's notifications. So you're definitely going to want to have those notification sounds turned up, because unlike the Inkbird device that creates its own alarm sounds, this app only uses the ones from the phone for notifications. Now, they may update that in the future, but until then, definitely watch out for that so you don't miss your temperature alarms. The obvious shortcoming of this controller is that the Wi-Fi is only accessible in your home network. Now, SmokeDaddy has been telling people that there's legal issues with them being able to connect outside of home networks. It's definitely something that they tell me that they're working on, and as soon as they have it figured out, they're going to send out an update to the controller that you can access through the internet by connecting your home network to the internet. By the way, you don't have to have an internet connection to use the controller itself, but to update, you do need that internet connection. And then once they have that update ready, hopefully it's going to be in the very near future, a lot of their customers are going to be satisfied with that update. They're also always trying to update their algorithms to get the most perfect cook from their PID controllers, so you can get those updates as well. Last thing that you're going to want to know from the Patriot PID Wi-Fi controller is that if you don't have a pellet grill that's either 24 inches in length or 22 inches in the grate, that's pretty much the minimum size that they recommend this controller for. So things like the Traeger Scout, which is smaller, definitely shouldn't use that controller. So remember that the size of the cooking chamber is important when considering these things. Now that's it for the first installment on this series on what SmokeDaddy's products can do to upgrade your pellet grill. Look out for the next installment by subscribing, liking, and turning on notifications. Stay tuned.